is upon us. And with cooler air comes district games with playoff implications. We're all over the Lone Star State tonight, from Amarillo to Nacogdoches. Huge games in the Metroplex, the state capital, and the River City. And our DQ Big Game of the Week comes to you from beautiful and old Jasper, Texas. It's Scoreboard Live, and it kicks off now. Welcome into the fastest hour in sports. We call it Scoreboard Live. Rick Renner alongside the czar of Texas high school football, the great Craig Way. What a show we have for you. We've been bullying pretty much our entire broadcasting careers, but we've survived to bring you highlights and reaction from all over the state of Texas.
And what do you say to that? Bully. I mean, good. That's a good thing, you know, no matter where we are all across the state of Texas, so we're ready to go.
All right. Well, we start with two of the best teams in Class 4A in a district showdown in 5-4A. Number 6 and defending state champ Denton Geyer. I'm not sure which camera we're going to talk to, so we'll go over here. What's up, my man? Good to see you. Well, these two teams are running two of the most exciting offenses you will see anywhere. Denton Geyer with their Texas Longhorn-bound quarterback in Gerard Hurd, and Ryder rides with a guy named Chase London in Texas. Let's go to Denton, where our Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine crew was hanging all night for this. Chase London with a 55-yard strike to Davin Allison. Boys, he's a good one. 7 catches, 225 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But Gerard Hurd would answer with Jonathan Pearshaw for the 25-yard TD strike. Geyer and Ryder would go back and forth. Here's Hurd. He'll keep it himself. Nice moves on the 58-yard run. And this game would go back and forth. The defending state champs, boy, do they want this one. Ryder would answer with London and an 81-yard pass to Allison. He's just a junior. He's going to be one of the most highly sought-after receivers next year in the country. Then Anthony Taylor with the perfectly tailored run, 22 yards up the gut. Geyer goes on to win this one, 56-30. They win the district showdown, and they sit in the driver's seat right now. Hurd threw for 117 yards and 2 touchdowns. He ran for 194 and 2 more scores. Let's hear from Gerard, who's standing by with Angela Heyman with that district title pretty much in hand.
This might have sealed the district championship for you guys. How much does it mean to y'all to get the district championship heading into the playoffs?
I mean, it means a lot. You know, this would be our second time at Geyer history to get a district championship, so it's very emotional right now. So to get it, it's going to be a meaningful thing to us.
And did want to ask you, I know that you guys have heavy hearts losing your teammate Nathan Mackey. We talked about earlier that you wear the number 33 decal on your helmet. Yeah. So just talk to me about how you guys honor him each week with your play, and, you know, how you think about him.
Because we know what he would do for us on the playing field when we playing out here. He gave it his all, so, you know, it's the right thing for us to do, is to give it our all and play for him.
Well, another week, another challenge for the defending 4A Division II state champion Cedar Park Timberwolves. The only blemish on the T-Wolves slate, a last-second non-district loss at Abilene Cooper in the season's second week. Since then, Joe Willis' team has taken on and beaten all comers, including last week's impressive win over Leander Rouse. But perhaps the Timberwolves' biggest challenge was due tonight at Gupton Stadium, hosting another up-and-coming Leander ISD school, the Vandegrift Vipers, who carried a 7-1 overall and perfect 4-0 district record into the 25-4A showdown in Cedar Park. Well, if Cedar Park was ready, they certainly looked the part early on. Vandegrift thought they were ready. The T-Wolves with the big pink banner definitely were ready. Early on, Vandegrift backed up, all the way back into their own end zone. That's a safety. There's the T-Wolves gang up on it in for a quick 2 points. Then it's Nate Grimm. Nice bake. Keeps it himself, sweeping around untouched for the 10-yard score. And they're already feeling it there in CP. Then it's Grimm handing it to Bill Estavanot, and he'll take it in. 22 yards in for the score. Cedar Park with the win over Vandegrift in this one tonight. And on to Elgin and Eastview. Another matchup out of the greater Austin area. Elgin, of course, state ranked. And Eastview having a difficult time tonight. Good thing the Patriots still have a shot at the postseason even without a win. Early on, they made noise. Josh Covey hitting Chandler Crawford in stride, but the Pats turn it over. No points to show for it. Plenty of points for Elgin. Terrell Simmons keeps it and scores. Later, it's Datrian Simmons, his brother. He'll take this one in. Boy, this Elgin team looks really good. Still unbeaten, still perfect. En route to winning the district championship and still perfect in district play. 70-7 the final.
And with that, let's gander at the Class 4A top 10 standings and how everybody fared. Aledo, we kind of wonder what would happen with them. They turned off the Dogs in the second half. They've been averaging 69 points a game. They took on Fort Worth Southwest tonight, a very competitive team, but it wasn't really a competitive game. And pretty much everything fell in place here on this night, Craig.
Yeah, they were kind of turning off, you might say, turning off the Jets in the first half of some of those games. I know there was a lot of national hubbub made about Aledo, and they cruised to the win tonight. But you see those other impressive victories. Summer Creek continues to roll. Texas City unbeaten and blasting those. You went through Geyer, and I went through Cedar Park and Elgin in those highlights. And Phil Danaher with another win for Cal Allen, and Friendship popping in that top 10 and looked impressive, beating Hereford tonight.
Yeah, win number 395 for him. We'll have highlights of a lot of these teams later on in the show. Aledo, Summer Creek, Texas City as we roll on. Well, let's take a timeout right now, and coming back on Scoreboard Live, we will dive into Smithson Valley and see if New Braunfels can survive that one. Plus, the Fox Sports Southwest girls will chime in with what's being said in the social universe on Twitter. We're just getting the party started, so don't go away. We hit every single region in the state.
High School Scoreboard Live is brought to you by Ford F-Series, America's best-selling truck for 36 straight years. By Dairy Queen for the best tasting treats, eats, and drinks in Texas. DQ just tastes better. And by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Scoreboard Live rolls on with Converse Judson against San Marcos at Rutledge Stadium. Judson with a decent first half. They were 56-6 leaders in the third when our cameras got there. Brandon Sanders picks up the first down on the far side, and that would keep the chains moving for the Rockets. A lot of that tonight. Moments later, Cedric Williams looking like a D1 athlete here. He's a 215-pound wide receiver, and he gets in for the touchdown. They lead at 63-7, and Judson goes on to roll to remain just in control of what's going on there, and they're definitely a playoff-bound team at 6-2 overall, 2-1 in the conference. By the way, Judson clinches his 37th straight winning season. That is a new state record that they extend there. On the other side of it, Lubbock High now 48 straight non-winning seasons, which is kind of crazy that they still have that going on. Well, time now to see what's trending in high school football tonight, and for that, I give you the queens of social media, Kami and Liddy of the Fox Sports Southwest girls.
Thanks, Rick. It has been another amazing night on Football Friday. Social media has been booming, and so much so that our hashtag TXHSFB has been trending nationwide on Twitter tonight.
How about that? Only in Texas, right?
Only in Texas. Yeah, Texas high school football is a pretty big deal.
Well, thanks to that hashtag, we got some really great photos, so let's go ahead and take a look at our first one, sent in by Justin Wells. Just a couple of Bulldogs.
It was the battle of the Bulldogs, actually, tonight. Kilgore versus Chapel Hill, and Kilgore won 42-25.
Well, with that win from Kilgore, they stay undefeated with a 7-0 record.
There you go. Our next picture is from Kurt Metzger. He says, my son and his homecoming date, go Tigers. Mansfield took on Grand Prairie tonight. Mansfield won 45-14.
Well, happy homecoming to Mansfield, because they also clinched a playoff spot with that win.
Way to go.
All right, another photo sent in by Dennis Silva. We had to share this truly inspiring story. The man of the hour at Tiger Stadium in Mercedes, Mr. Isaiah Garza.
So I don't know if you guys are familiar with this story, but Isaiah was the quarterback, and he was in a car accident and was paralyzed from the chest down, and they didn't think he would have any movement at all, but recently he's gotten movement in his arms, which is wonderful. So from all of us here at Fox Sports Southwest, we have prayers coming your way, and we wish you a very speedy recovery.
Absolutely. Our thoughts do go out to you and your family, so stay strong. So, yeah, we've had another great week here on Football Friday. We've got a really exciting couple of weeks, these next couple of weeks coming up with playoffs. So we want to keep up with all your photos and that action using that hashtag TXHSFB. We'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Great stuff, girls. Keep those tweets coming, and maybe you too can get on TV. Well, getting back to what was going on in the Alamo City tonight, how about Smithson Valley? They continue to be unbeaten, Craig. They get it done 23-6 against New Braunfels tonight. They're really looking like they're prepared to make another long state run.
You know, the interesting thing about it is we talked about Converse Judson and how impressive they've been, and yet still it is Smithson Valley in control of things in District 25-5A. But the greater San Antonio area, and we've talked about this throughout the course of the season, and nothing has changed. Smithson Valley, Judson, Madison, we're talking about teams that are really, really good in 5A and in 4A in the greater San Antonio area. Just so happens that Smithson Valley is at the top of that list right now, at least in 5A.
Well, coming up next, it's off to the DF Dub. The #1 team in Class 4A has been rolling people by 69 points a game, getting the national headlines this week for a bullying charge. We'll talk about that and see how the Bearcats respond tonight against another Fort Worth school. Corbett Smith will give us his thoughts in the Metroplex and more as we continue.
Presented by Ford every Saturday night on Fox Sports Southwest.
Congratulations to the Week 7 Built Ford Top Player of the Week winners. #1 and defending state champ Allen could win 3 straight state titles with Kyler Murray around. They've won 18 straight, averaging 50 points a game. Crosby's Austin Walter is a 1,500-yard rusher. He ran back a kick 100 yards. His brother, who's a twin brother, is going to Rice with him to play football. In Class 3A, Trevante Heights of Yoakum won the state's triple jump. 2A, Patton Snell is only a sophomore. He threw for 450 and 6 touchdowns to keep Scurry Rossler undefeated. Booker's Hunter Lyle is on pace to break his own Class 1A state record of nearly 4,000 yards in a season. And in private schools, Cool Hand Luke Alves has Nolan Catholic smelling their 5th TAPS title in 6 years. Vote for your favorite player at playeroftheweek.com.
Let's cruise right back into the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, North Central Texas area, and it's Euless Trinity taking on Grapevine. Trinity in those red unis early on the turnaround. Dion Guinard looking to pass wide open. Edric Gonzalez, Trojans on top by a score of 7-0. Later in the first, it's Isaac Ellsworth getting the ball, turning the corner, putting the fakes on everybody, and then takes it 32 yards, untouched for the score. Trojans up 14-3, and no difficulty at all for Steve Lineweaver's ball club as they win it by a score of 56-9. Longview and North Mesquite as the Lobos come east to play, and we're down 3-0 in the first quarter, but they crank it up in the second quarter. 27 unanswered points, capped by the 37-yard touchdown pass. Desmond Chumley to Stephon Anthony. 27-6 Lobos at the half. Then in the third, Longview adds to the lead. Chumley to Dorian Leonard, untouched. Longview up 34-9. Lobos hold on as North Mesquite makes a run, but Longview with the win, 37-22.
Elsewhere, we were expecting a competitive game tonight for the mighty Aledo Bearcats against Fort Worth Southwest. Aledo with the ball. Luke Bishop with plenty of time to a wide-open Taco Anderson. You might want to cover him. You're going to hear his name more. Bearcats again with the ball. This time Bishop does it himself, fakes the handoff, and runs right up the gut. He's pulled down, but not until he's already in the end zone for the touchdown. Then it's more Bishop to Taco Anderson, and it's free tacos for everyone after this one. 59-13 Aledo rolls. The problem with Aledo, they're so darn good, their 3rd and 4th stringers might be better than most 4A's first stringers. They get the great Highland Park, remember, in the opener. They beat them 44-3, and a lot of controversy this week over them. And now let's bring in Corbett Smith, who is at the game following the Aledo story this week with the Dallas Morning News. It made national headlines, the joke circuit with Jay Leno this week, as Fort Worth Western Hills and a parent there filed a bullying charge against Aledo for a 91-0 loss. Coach Tim Buchanan said next year he would encourage a mercy rule. Wouldn't that be even worse, Corbett?
I don't think so. They've got a mercy rule in 6-man, and it's certainly something that the UIL is going to look into. Though the UIL did respond this week by saying, hey, coaches can agree to terminate the game at any point. If they come to an agreement, they can just end the game. They don't need to have a mercy rule. I think a 50-point mercy rule in the third quarter at some point would be a smart idea. There's no real reason to stretch games out if they're that lopsided, but it will hurt power programs, especially in the Metroplex, when they're in districts that they're unbalanced with, because they need their reserves to play and to get some game action.
Well, that leads me into what I was going to ask you, Corbett, because we heard about this a couple of years ago from Jason Herring at Refugio, and how he said he did not want to make the mistake of not playing his guys well enough to be tuned well enough for the playoffs. He felt it cost him in the past, and so that's why he kept starters in longer so they would be ready for the stretch drive. And that's a delicate balance, isn't it? Coach Buchanan has that, and other coaches of highly ranked teams do when they're playing a district schedule where, quite frankly, the rest of the district just isn't up to their challenge.
Well, I think there's a little bit difference between what Aledo did and what Refugio did. Being a South Texas guy, I've seen Refugio, what they've done up close. And there were some allegations about them trying to rush up scores there, kicking onside kicks, calling timeouts, trying to score at the end of the games that certainly Coach Tim Buchanan did not do. I think when you look at that score, it's a shocking score, but it's just that. If you don't have any reference to it, you've got the best team in Class 4A, or one of the best teams in Class 4A, against a program that's really struggling. It's going to be a lopsided affair. The thing that I think that a lot of people should take out of this is to maybe not, file that complaint with the school and bring, the legal process into it, because that's really what drew a lot of the eyeballs to the story.
Corbin, Arlington Lamar beat Arlington Martin tonight. Was that a surprise to you?
Probably the biggest surprise of the night, maybe Tyler Lee's win over Mesquite that could have clinched a playoff berth, but certainly a good win for Trent Fuller and his kids. And I thought that maybe Martin was caught looking ahead a couple of weeks for their matchup against Bowie that will determine who gets the #1 seed out of that district in Division I, but a real strong win by Lamar.
Hey, Corbin, one more kind of eyebrow-raising result, at least in terms of the offense. Plano over Plano East, and winning by the rather one-sided margin that the Wildcats did tonight?
Amazing, actually, because that was with their backup quarterback. Their starting quarterback is injured. Their backup quarterback rushes for 222 yards. Jadon McCullough's defense has been playing phenomenally all year. They did again tonight, but if they can get that kind of offensive production, watch out.
Thanks for the knowledge, buddy. Check out Corbett Smith and a kicker, David Newberry, as we simulcast their radio show in Dallas on 1310 The Ticket at 11 o'clock, leading into Scoreboard Live. Well, let's take a break. Coming up next, it's off to the greater Houston area. We'll check in with some dangerous unbeatens, Summer Creek, Texas City, and Fort Bend Bush. Plus, my man Ahmad Vital of Scout.com will chime in after this.
Soccer Plus. To subscribe, call 1-8779-GET-PLUS.
To the greater Houston area we go. Packed house at Turner Stadium. Atascocita and Kingwood, both teams 6-1 for the year in the first quarter. It's Atascocita's Greg Campbell. Then on the keeper, 12 yards down to the goal line. It's 14-0 Atascocita. Second quarter now. Campbell buying a little time on the rollout and then connecting with Jamarcus Jones. 51 yards, the catch, the run, the touchdown. Eagles up 21-0, and they go on to a 31-17 win. And from there, it is the Summer Creek Bulldogs. Check out the arm on Kansas State commitment Aaron Sharp, firing one to Sidney Holt, Washington for 6 as Summer Creek is rocking Porter's world. Then it's Sharp with the outside pass to Torrey Johnson. And watch the move he makes right there along the sidelines. Gets free, 27-0 Bulldogs at the end of one. In the second quarter, Sharp again is going to show some sharp moves there. Escaping one tackler, then another. The rollout, the lefty looking, firing, and finding Jordan Roberts. Hauls it in for 6. And then just before the half, how about some more Sharp on the rollout? This time, cut off, looking, and then almost 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage at one point. Doesn't matter. Picks up some great blocks along the left side by his Summer Creek teammates, and he scoots in for 6. Yeah, Summer Creek looks good. They win it 48-0.
Craig, a great win in Class 4A District 24 between unbeaten Texas City and Galeno Park. That's a Monty Foreman, and he is going to break tackles left and right. Hard to see him in those dark uniforms. He gets down there. Texas City goes up 7-0. Then Stingarees again with the ball. Andrew Allen drops back, and he will throw deep to Deontay Foreman. How many Foremans they got? Enough to win 44-0. Nice victory for them. In Fort Bend, that region, that Fort Bend area's bananas. As Timothy Jackson gets in for the score, then Jonathan Giles to Shahab Korspana. And it's 17-0 Elkins. I practiced that name in the mirror before the show. Elkins shocking Bush up 23-0 when Ronald Monroe hooks up to Justin Vaughn. And then it's Ronald Monroe again to his twin brother Donald. Ronald to Donald. And that cuts the lead to 23-16, but Jonathan Giles will break 150 yards here, 30-16 Elkins. And this was a crazy game. And the winner of this one, here's that big 50-yard run. As you see, boy, he's just towering through those guys, and they're not going to catch him with his speed. As Jonathan Giles gets in there, 30-23. What a win for Elkins. They take charge of the district at 5-0. Both of these teams could go Division II come playoff time. How about the two quarterbacks in this one between Giles and Monroe? By the way, Monroe got hurt in this one. Both have accounted for nearly 2,000 yards on their offenses. And with that, let's bring in the source of H-Town football, Ahmad Vital of Scout.com, who joins us on the phone. Ahmad, you were at this game between Bush and Elkin. Your impressions of a shutout that my partner Craig Way, or a surprise really, that happened tonight?
Well, I can tell you what, after talking to Coach Brandley and Coach Aldridge from both sides, this was a playoff atmosphere type of matchup. You know, both teams were undefeated in district play. A lot of people were favoring Bush in this one, but I can tell you what, Elkins came with a lot of heat, and you already mentioned it. Ronald Monroe left at the beginning of the fourth quarter. That's because Tobin Okiki and, you know, Troy Burnett, those Elkins defenders were coming after him. I think I counted 10 sacks on the night. Okiki had about 3 or 4 of those himself. They brought a lot of heat on Monroe. Jonathan Giles was just lights out tonight. Almost had a little over 230 yards of offense and was just making the plays they needed. I tell you what, those teams was hard and fast. Both of them have a lot of respect for each other and know that both of them will be making it to postseason play.
Yeah, Ahmad, the other thing that comes to mind is we talked about all the explosivity on both sides. You mentioned it, the defense having a lot to do with this, for Elkins being able to get some defensive stops. In one of those shootout-type games, all you need is 1 or 2 stops like that with the firepower that each squad possesses.
Well, absolutely, Craig. And when you look at this Elkins defense plays really fast, and they got more than a few Division I commits. Of course, Okiki, he's headed off to Fresno State. They have a DB who's headed off to Texas State, along with Ronald Monroe, who was on the other side. But they played hard and fast. These guys were coming after him all day. I mean, it was just an all-out shootout from the defensive side. Like I said, they had 10 sacks on the night, but that's not how many times he was hit. He probably was hit more, you know, upwards of about 18 to 20 times. You know, that last time that corner blitz got him under the ribs, and, you know, Monroe was out for the game. And, you know, they still had actually a chance to come back and win if they had the ball on, you know, going on in the red zone to go in. But Elkins' defense, once again, steps up and made the plays necessary and came away with the win. This is a huge win, but I can tell you what, this team right here is primed to be able to do some things in the postseason.
Ahmad, got to ask you, we weren't able to talk about it last week because it was a Saturday game, but Katy Seven Lakes gave number 2 Katy and defending state champ everything they could handle last week. They were in that game, had a chance to win. We haven't seen that happen to Katy very often all year. Does that tell us something about Katy going forward?
I think it may say a little bit about Katy. You know, Katy is down right now from the standpoint that one of its primary weapons in Rodney Anderson has been out for a few weeks. I think he hurt his toe about 3 weeks ago. But I can tell you what, I really think it's saying more about with Seven Lakes. From what I've been told, the Seven Lakes really outplayed Katy for a good portion of that game. That defense over there is no joke. They play hard and fast, and they gave Katy everything it had. And I'll tell you what, don't sleep on the Katy Seven Lakes team, because that team is coached very well. We know Coach Lydell Wilson. We know his pedigree. We know what he brings to the table. And that Seven Lakes team is believing that they can play with some teams. And you know what? Going head-to-head with Katy the way it did, I think they're showing a lot of people what they can do. Look for Katy to probably bounce back and start getting back into his Katy ways. Obviously, they still came away with the win, but know that neither one of those teams are going to go anywhere, and both of them should do well heading into district for the rest of district play.
Thanks, Ahmad. Great stuff. Check him out at scout.com. And by the way, he's the #1 bookseller, too. He's always on the pulse of the greater Houston area. Break time on Scoreboard Live. Coming up next, we'll head to the Brazos River, East Texas, and a team that's on the rise, Kilgore. That's right, Kilgore. Look out for these guys, #3 in the state, and they are rolling, plus Wichita Falls, as we roll on in a moment.
Continue on High School Scoreboard Live and to the Brazos Valley in Bryan. Bryan hosting the Woodlands, and the Highlanders looking for the Bryan College Station sweep after beating Consol 3 weeks ago. Chris Andrizzo's hitting. Tyler Patrick takes the big hit there, but he would score in the first play of the second. The Woodlands up 7-0. Then the Viking defense gets Bryan on the board later in the half. Antoine Wallace picks off Andrizzo's pass, takes it 35 yards to the house. Extra point block. Big Blue down 7-6. Highlanders answer that. Sterling Scott on the handoff. He'll take it around the corner. 6 yards in for the score. The Woodlands then pushes the advantage to 14-6, and they go on to a 21-14 win over Bryan.
East Texas and a team that has a serious chance for playing for all the marbles at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Thanks to Benny Colbert and the TD pass to Aaron Foy. 7-0 Kilgore over Chapel Hill. Second quarter, Chapel Hill's Andrew Black. The TD pass to Gabrielle Robinson. And G-Rob would cut the lead to 14-6. Look at him. Just get down the field and get into the end zone. Pretty impressive there. But Kilgore grinding it out on the ground as Kevin Justice gets Justice, and they win it 42-25. Look out for them. In Wichita Falls, Iowa Park plays its first game at the newly renovated Hawk Stadium to host Hershey, and that's Terrence Cooper, 43 yards. That made it 7-0. And then Derek Ponder to Westine Swenson. He'll get to the outside and into the end zone. That would make it a 7-7 game. Check this out, Craig. Direct snap here. It's a trick play, and it works. Hershey goes on to win it 49-28. They pulled out all the stops, and you got to do that kind of stuff when the district title is on the line. So let's take a look at the Class 3A results tonight in the top 10, and everything happened that you thought would happen. But I got to ask you, Craig, when I look at Kilgore, I think they're the surprise team. It's not a surprise that they're good, but I think it's a surprise that they're going to challenge Gilmer and the Argyles of the world for a state championship.
No, they have the tools. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And then looking on down the list, I can't help but continue to be impressed by Fairfield. Look at what they did to Mejia tonight. Carthage, another win. So all of those East Texas schools, then it's business as usual for some of the teams you'd expect. For example, obviously Gilmer at the top of the poll. Argyle at #2. Stephenville, a defending state champion. It's pretty easy to forget about with all that great talent, great results coming out of East Texas there. And then Salina pounds Audrey. Port Isabel continues to win down in the Rio Grande Valley. We mentioned Navasota, a defending state champion. You have 2 defending state champions, both in the top 10, both have a loss. And, Rick, both are kind of getting overlooked a little bit because of all the other powers coming out of strictly deep East Texas.
Would you say Class 3A is more competitive as far as the top 10 than any of the classifications?
I think the word is concentrated. I think it's a more highly concentrated area of some of the powers in the state. When you talk about 3A, when we're mentioning Gilmer and we're mentioning Kilgore and we're mentioning Carthage, we're mentioning those schools now. You spread it all out, and you'll see powers in other areas. Stephenville down in the Cross Timbers. I mentioned Port Isabel way down in the Rio Grande Valley. Graham, don't forget about the Steers in the Big Country region. You have all of those schools, and they're kind of scattered a little bit, but you have this one concentrated area where you have powers, real powerhouses coming out of East Texas, as you mentioned, Rick, with a realistic shot of winning a title on a year-in, year-out basis. I don't think there's any question.
Piney Woods, those kids will run through a truck for you, no question about it. Let's take a break. Coming up next, we have the DQ Big Game of the Week right around the corner, featuring those Carthage Bulldogs and how good they are. Plus, we'll check in on the Battle of Frisco if you keep it where it is. Let's roll out the Bill Ford Tough Player of the Week watch list. These are some of the guys who have got a great shot of winning the Ford honor. Isaac Washington is a good-looking receiver in El Paso out of the Americas. Jordan Thomas, no doubting Thomas is about him. He's going to Northwestern. Crosby's Raylon Singleton is going to Utah. How about Kevin Shorter? He'll dazzle us for the Texas Longhorns. And Jose Scott of LaPorte will play at Texas A&M. Nominate your favorite player at playeroftheweek.com based on performances on and off the field. Let's go to the Battle of Frisco tonight. Frisco and Frisco Centennial, and we pick it up in the first. Max Steidel is going to work and going up top. No, he's just going to take it up the gut. Frisco claims the 7-0 lead early on. Centennial quarterback Kelly Cordova responds with the option keeper. That would tie the game. And then in the second, Jake Battaglia will strike, and he will strike often. This kid's got a good arm. Check out this pass to Rasheed Kilpatrick, and watch the effort as he breaks a tackle and dives into the goal line there. But Centennial would tie the game and then pull ahead as Cordova gets loose again, and that made it 21-14 Titans. Frisco Centennial goes on to win it 35-28. Thursday night upset in the making as Eastwood stuns the Americas. How about Javier Hinojos doing some trailblazing here? Watch the little big man make a great cutback at the 10 and scoot into the end zone from 25 yards out. Eastwood doing it on the east side. They answer with a field goal. And then in the second quarter, it's super sophomore Alex Vasquez getting the score for a 10-7 lead. And yes, the Troopers overcome a 21-10 halftime deficit to win it 34-28. They improved to 3-2, 6-2 overall.
We move up to the Panhandle region. Started off Amarillo Tascosa playing host to a hot Midland Lee ball club. First quarter, no score, and it's Lee's Caden Coots to Aaron Dobbins, who makes a nice cut right there. Picks up 38 yards. Now, on the same drive as Lee looks to finish, it's Coots. And Coots will look for Alex Bell this time from the shotgun. Nice play fake. Boom, got rid of it just in time. Bell, nice reach-up grab for the score. Then the Rebel D turns it on as well, snuffing out the option. Midland Lee goes on to win it 42-28. 3A action in District 1. Now, this is Pampa in action. Pampa, the Harvesters, going up against Borger. And early on, it is Pampa's Tyler Hooper sacked by Christian Matthews, and then it's Jake Showers sacked by Cager Osborne, a 10-yard loss. Cody Maddox then on the receiving end of a catch from Hooper, a defensive struggle. This is a real unique situation that's going on in this district between the two. Dalhart is in command of this district, but you see Borger gets the win 17-7 over Pampa. With the win, Borger picks up the district victory. Now, Rick, here's the records after the wins tonight. Borger and Pampa with the win and the loss. Pampa drops to 1-8. They are now 1-2 in district play. Borger with the win goes to 2-6, and they're 1-1. You say, well, those teams aren't very good. They have losing records. But because of that district, other than Dalhart being in control of things, you could see multiple teams with losing records wind up in the postseason.
Yeah, and we've seen that before, but I think the thing is so interesting that these teams also have not played that many games in district, where we have some in San Antonio, they're playing 6 or 7 games.
It's usually that sort of thing that happens. Normally, when a team winds up in the playoffs with a losing record, it's because of two things. One, they have a non-district schedule that's pretty challenging. Two, they have to be almost always, if you're going to see a team with only 2 wins or 3 wins get into the playoffs, it's because they're in a 6-team district, or in some cases out in West Texas, maybe even a 5 or a 4-team district where their only wins are coming in district play. So if their only wins are coming in district play, you're going to have a sub-500 going into the playoffs.
You can be a loser, but you can be a winner. Everybody's a winner, right? Coming up next, an instant classic in the DQ Big Game of the Week. Neil has this one covered from the bonfire to the parade to the pep rallies to the most exciting finish of the year.
The DQ crew is in Jasper, Texas tonight, and Jasper is home of the Bulldogs. But hold on just a second. Carthage is also home of the Bulldogs. So when we say go Bulldogs tonight, both sidelines will be cheering. Carthage, a top 10 ranked team in the state. But these dogs playing well as well. Won 3 in a row, looking to make it 4 straight for homecoming tonight. So who's barking up the wrong tree and who's got the bite? Oh, my good man, he looks good. It's Carthage, it's Jasper, and it is certainly big enough to be our DQ Big Game of the Week.
See your way. That one throwing done.
All right, all right, all right. That's Jasper Pastor Todd Hunt right before the games back in 2004 when yours truly did the DQ Big Game of the Week with the Emmy Award-winning photographer Jeff Irwin. The pastor's son, Todrick, was All-State. He led the Bulldogs to the state championship game in 2005. The kid is now in Los Angeles pursuing a singing career. Gee, I wonder where he got that from. Jasper has one of the coolest old stadiums, a perfect place to welcome in the perennial state power in 7th-ranked Carthage, who recently won 3 titles in 4 years. Here's Neil Beasley with an amazing DQ Big Game of the Week.
Jasper, Texas, the jewel of the forest. And homecoming week for their Bulldogs. A parade leads things off on Thursday night.
Yeah, look at those parents up there.
Seniors only, heading down to the school for some outdoor fun. A little El Fresco pep rally to get the fires burning with the number 7 Carthage Bulldogs coming to town.
JHS Bulldogs, the team on top. Crimson, black, and white. We can't be stopped.
We're looking for an upset tomorrow night because we are the real Bulldogs. First we gon' take the ball. And then what? Then we gon' smash them all. And then what? Run the stadium and take the cup. All the rest of the balls at the field out. Who? Get ready, don't want them else. We can't stop working till we can't stay here.
But the hot spot for Jasper is out back. The blaze of Bulldog passion may start with smoldering embers, but the flames of fervor are blistering in this town.
It's time for the live broadcast of Coffee with Coach. Here's the voice of the Bulldogs, Art Lay, and the Jasper Bulldogs head football coach, Darryl Barbet.
Game days in Jasper start with the entire town wanting to know how their dogs will bite them other hounds.
You know, anything can happen on a Friday night. I've seen it. I've coached long enough. I watch enough TV. I watch enough games, you know. The one thing is our kids are excited. I think our school is excited. And, you know, I think it's going to be a fun game.
One of the few times in your life you're going to want to be in that doghouse. Wonderful tradition of football success and all the trophies to prove it.
The Jasper Carthage game tonight is the Dairy Queen, the DQ Big Game of the Week.
But these canines better have their canines sharp and ready.
We big, we bad, we hungry for blood. You small, you sad, I think you need a hug.
It's all paws on deck tonight, whether you're old school or a new pup. But Carthage has history on its side as well. Back-to-back state titles in 08, 09, and 2010. Heck, these guys even have recent titles in debate, journalism, and poetry. All these players' legs are like logs. Their running backs are swift. Their linemen are hogs. The coach is smarter than I've met, but this you can bet. The winner tonight will be dogs. And how's this for teamwork? Carthage head coach Scott Surratt and his assistant coach and best friend married identical twin sisters.
This is our 3rd football season.
So you have more state title rings.
I do. Yeah. I do.
So you need to start adding them.
I need the bling.
They might need to double the effort tonight to stay atop the district standings.
There's 3 things we're going to do. First of all, we're going to represent that seat. Second of all, we're going to play for each other. And like like always, we're going to play fast, physical, and furious.
First half, hometown dogs marking their territory. Not one, but two big hits on mighty Carthage. And then
Cooney coming right to the 15, 20, 25, 30. He's in the open, 40, 50. He may go 40, 35, 30. He's being chased by Bolton. 15, 5. There is a touchdown to the Jasper Bulldogs.
14-0 Jasper when all is said and done. But UTSA commit Blake Bogenschutz with 2 short TD runs, 15-14, visiting Bulldogs of Carthage. Then Jasper using that ball as a chew toy.
Here's Walker throwing to his left. Now he's going to go with a halfback pass. Man right open in the end zone. This can be a touchdown.
Good boy. 2015, home dogs back up. But here comes Carthage. This is why they're a top 10 team in the state.
Here's Bogey throwing left in the end zone. Caught for a touchdown by O'Carey and Rutherford.
21-20, Carthage leading at the break.
They're going to score. We know that. I don't think they can stop us. You understand?
Yes,
we got to keep going. All we got to do is protect the football. Protect the football. Let's go. Next we line out. Hey, give me 2 more. I'll love you forever. Give me 2 more. Let's go. Get outside and catch a prayer. Hey, no excuse. 1, 2, 3. No!
Second half, Jasper said Carthage can score.
And it is incomplete. He caught it.
T. Gorey, multiple D1 offers, great grab, sets up 6, Carthage by 14. But Jasper will pull within 7 here from 1 yard out. Cooney, 261 yards and 3 TDs, but zoinks, fumble.
Carthage Bulldogs. You have got to be kidding me.
Carthage takes the gift, 90 yards and 11 plays the other way. Bogenschutz to Gorey, sets up another score. Ball game. 41-26 your final. Carthage gets the win, the bragging rights, and the gold football.
We came in and talked to we're family. We all got to play together. We got to play together every snap, or we'll never win a game. So we came together in halftime and came out and put on.
Every game we just come out and bring our all, and if we have a down moment, everybody just get each other up, and we just find a way to play dog football, find a way to win.
We had to depend on the run for once this year, so I can't say enough about the offensive line. The coaches getting us in good situations, and all the glory goes to God.
You know, our goal every year, once you win one, it is to win a state championship, or it's kind of disappointing.
Gold ball's first step?
No question. We got the gold ball. We retained it from last year, so we're excited.
Hey, Cesar Milan would have been proud of both these dogs tonight, but in the end, let the big dogs eat! Carthage. From producer Clark Rowe and photographer Jeff Irwin, I'm Neil Beasley with your DQ. Big game of the week.
He can use that either way. Next week, Neil and the gang will highlight the state's best receiver, if not the nation's best, Baylor-bound KD Cannon of Mount Pleasant as the Tigers take on Hallsville. Back with more after this.
Down to the greater Austin area, Round Rock has been much improved, but how improved would they be taking on the 9th-ranked team in the state, the Hendrickson Hawks? Well, Hendrickson gives them a dose early, 75 yards for Hendrickson early on Xavier Conley, the chance Waz for the TV, and then this one on defense, Waz with a pick and takes it back for the pick 6. But Hendrickson, however, keeping Round Rock in the game. It was 14-0, but the Hawks with some trouble on the snap out of the back of the end zone. It's a safety. Round Rock fighting its way back in, and the Dragons keep it close. Colin Henson off play action looking for Keon DeLosa for the score. Nice catch there. Round Rock, a hard-fought effort, but Hendrickson still perfect. They win 21-17.
In Class 5A, the top 10, Allen rolling. Kyler Murray, 6 touchdowns, threw for 330. DeSoto's 8-0. Big win over Duncanville tonight. Desmond White with 416 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. And near the bottom, number 8, Southlake Carroll continues to win big. Ryan Agnew threw for 307 yards and 3 scores.
Notable in that DeSoto moved up to number 2 last week after Katie's close call with 7 legs, and then DeSoto won big over rival Duncanville tonight, 55-29.
Let's take a break. Back with more on High School Scoreboard Live after this.
Better. And by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Some would say this was the game of the night in the Permian Basin. Permian and Cooper. It's Brandon Bailey getting lost here in the scrum, but comes out of it. And he's got a whole lot of green and a whole lot of glory. Just like that, the Panthers are on top 7-0. There would be a lot of scoring in this one, Craigers. The Cougars with a beautiful offense running down the field. They'll close the scoring there with the misdirection, and that would tie it up at 7 with Skylar Wilson. And then check out the aggressive Panthers. Wood with the pump fake, and that's a beauty to McCorbin. He'll field it, and he will get beyond the defense. 54-53, Permian. The mojo is back.
And we keep it out west. We're going lower classification. Class A, it's Ira Ann at Wink. Ira Ann, the Braves, a perfect 7-0, and early on, Devin Griffin not able to find an open man, makes the play with his legs, picks up big yards, and a first down. Now on the goal line, Brandon Hooker to finish the drive, giving the Braves the 7-0 lead. A few plays later, Griffin will hand it to Robert Reyes. Tripped up, stays on his feet, breaks a few more tackles, finally trundling his way down to the 5-yard line, and 2 plays later, Rafael Rodriguez muscling his way in for the score. Iran gets pushed by Wink, but they beat the Wildcats 28-20.
And they celebrate with all those fans up on the hill. How about everybody in 1A?
Yep.
They move on.
Business as usual. Tenaha with an open date on the schedule. Falls City was supposed to be tested by Woodsboro. Didn't happen tonight. Beavers win big. Wellington's still #1 in the state, so business as usual in Class A.
Corpus Christi Cal Allen improves to 8-0 as coach Phil Danaher grabs his 395th win tonight. That's second, of course, in the state, 16th nationally. And by Craig math, we figured it out. He could set the all-time record and pass G.A. Moore in about 2.5 to 3 seasons. I'm just saying.
So that's the math. That works.
Thanks for watching. Enjoy college football all day Saturday. For Craig, I'm Rick. We'll see you next week on Friday night.